Hey friend, I'm so excited because today I'm sharing 7 ways that you can enjoy cooking more. Hey everyone, my name's Emily Myrick with MarriedMyrick.com, and every Wednesday I post a new video on attainable homemaking for busy working women. So if you are a busy working wife, click that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you know every time I post a new video. Okay, so today we're talking about cooking because it's something that we all have to do, and it's something that I know a lot of women out there don't love to do. And even if you're like me and you love cooking, you don't want to spend your whole life in the kitchen, right? So I like to find ways to make cooking enjoyable and also productive so I can spend more time with my family and doing ministry. Okay, so let's just get right into the tips. So my first tip is to play something educational. Okay, so maybe you're like me and you like to dance in the kitchen sometimes. Apparently not everybody does. I thought everybody did that, but anyway, I love to dance and play some good music in the kitchen, but sometimes I really like to take that time to play something that engages my mind while I'm chopping vegetables or cooking meat. So one thing that I love to listen to, of course, are podcasts. And my favorite podcast is the She Proves Faithful podcast with Lauren. Lauren really seems like a personal mentor, and in my mind, we're like best friends. So she is so sweet, and I love her podcast so much. I know you'll love it too. So I'll leave a link in the description so you can check out her podcast. I also like to listen to other kinds of businessy podcasts, and sometimes I'll even listen to things on YouTube, and I will just have my phone playing the video, but I'm more listening to it than watching it. I try to make my videos kind of like that too, so that you can get all the content just by listening, but I also try to spice it up with some, creative B-roll and stuff to just keep it interesting in case you are just staring at the screen the whole time. But that's not how I watch YouTube videos very often. The other thing that I like to do is listen to the audio Bible. So if it's been a really busy day and I haven't had much time to dig into the word, I like to just have the word playing for me so that I can listen while I'm multitasking. Okay, so my second tip is to get a new tool or gadget that makes cooking either more easy or more enjoyable. So one of my new favorite gadgets is my KitchenAid juicer. Now, can you juice 4 pounds of oranges by hand? Yes, but do you want to, if you have the option, to KitchenAid do the heavy lifting for you? Yeah, I think the answer is pretty easy. So I love that KitchenAid juicer because I love fresh squeezed orange juice and lemonade. And so that's something that my husband got for me for Christmas. And yeah, we've been using it quite a bit since we got it. My third tip, okay, don't get salty at me, but it's actually cook those Pinterest recipes that you're pinning to your boards. Okay, so I hear that a lot of women don't use Pinterest the way that I use Pinterest, which is the way that I think you should be using Pinterest too, and that is to actually find recipes to cook at home. Now, I will make a disclaimer and say that there's a lot of recipes on Pinterest that I basically get ideas from, and then while I'm cooking, I change up the recipe, I add things, I don't add things. But I don't like to cook directly from a recipe if I can avoid it, which is why I don't love baking, because baking is so precise. But anyway, when you're cooking, if you are not an intuitive cook and creative like that, then you can just go straight from the recipe. Regardless if you're getting ideas or actual recipes off Pinterest, get your ideas on Pinterest and actually use them, because it is a lot more fun and you can try new kinds of foods that you might not have realized that you like. Okay, my fourth tip is to practice making a new recipe with the intention of using it to host. So if I am having friends or family over, typically I like to have a recipe that I've already made a couple times, at least one time before, and feel comfortable with before I make it for a big group of people. Now, if we're just having one or two people over, sometimes I will make a new recipe or a variation of a recipe without trying it out. And really, the only times I've ever had a recipe go really bad is when it's just me and my husband. But it is so much fun to find a recipe off Pinterest or wherever, a cookbook, and practice it and find a brand new recipe. I have to say, I made Gordon Ramsay's shrimp scampi. It was amazing. I mean, we tasted it and we're like, wow, this is like Gordon Ramsay made it, except for it was Emily Myrick. But it was really, really good. And that's the only recipe that I followed to a T and had it turn out like perfect. But it is so much fun to host people in our homes, and that is something that the Bible calls us to do, is to practice hospitality. So literally practice it before you actually implement it by creating recipes and finding new recipes that you can use that are good for larger groups or smaller dinner parties or whatever you're doing for your hosting. But just practice it beforehand, and then you'll feel really comfortable and you'll already know the steps on how to make that meal before you have a bunch of people in your home that you are trying to serve. Okay, my fifth tip is to buy a new ingredient from a local market. So if you have a farmer's market or some kind of an international market or grocery store by your house, I definitely recommend going there and just seeing what they have and finding something that looks really interesting to you. Now, it might be kind of hard if it's an international market to know exactly what the ingredients are, but a lot of times in international markets, at least in Missouri, they have English, they do have products with English on the label so you can read it. Now, that's not always the case. You can get out your Google Translate on your phone, or just stick to things that you are more comfortable with, maybe something that's less processed, like a new kind of fruit or vegetable. But it is so much fun to find something new, and we have done that several times where we'll find something at an international market and we will love that version a lot better than what you can get at like Walmart. So one example of that is sriracha. So as much as we love sriracha, there is a chili garlic paste. There is a chili garlic sauce that the same company makes that we can get at the local kind of international market that we have, and it's really good. It's way better than sriracha. It's also a lot hotter, but it is really, really good. And that kind of leads into my sixth tip, which is to try cooking some authentic fare. So that is something that we love to do right before we go visit a new country. We like to try to make new foods that we're expecting to try in that country. And then when we come home from that country, we love to make food and try to make it taste exactly like what we experienced in the actual country. For example, when we went to Taiwan, beforehand, my husband was making danbing, which is basically, I think that's what they eat for breakfast. They might eat it all the time. We mostly just ate that for breakfast. But it is just a delicious kind of almost like a crepe with scallions and ham and egg rolled up, and then you dip it in a sauce that to us tastes like soy sauce, honey, and that chili, the chili garlic sauce, but I'm not sure exactly what is in the sauce, but that's what we recreated at home, both before and after, and afterwards it got even better. And then afterwards too, I was making bibimbap and all kinds of other foods that we were eating in Taiwan. I tried to make them at home. Some of them work out a lot better than others, but like our pineapple buns, we still need to find a better recipe because my poor husband spent like 6 hours trying to make pineapple buns and they weren't the same. I don't know if we'll ever be able to make pineapple buns like we had in Taiwan because there were literally people just lined up waiting for those pineapple buns because they are so good. My seventh and final tip is to make a plan. Okay, so I know meal planning and prepping can take a lot of work, but you have to do it in a more smart, not hard kind of way. So work smarter, not harder. If you want to know my tips on how to meal plan and see me go through the whole process, click that like button and let me know that I should make a meal planning video next, and I will try to do that for you guys. So if you plan to fail, you failed to plan, right? So you have to make some kind of a meal plan that works for you and your family, that can help you not lose your mind, because if you are not getting all of the ingredients on your grocery list, or you don't have a plan for what you're making, then you're probably gonna have to end up running out and grabbing like to go, or getting through the drive-through to pick up food for your family, and you're going to be spending more money and eating less healthier food than if you make a plan and make healthy food at home. Alright, that wraps up the 7 tips I have to make cooking and your life in the kitchen more enjoyable. If you have any other tips, I'd love to see them in the comments below. I'll see you next Wednesday.